6 hours until the massacre at Ffirth Asylum. TJ claimed it was around 9 p.m., which he said he could tell by looking at the moon. That sounded like bullshit, but it didn't feel like he was off by much. He and Hope were in my room, the latter heating a coffee pot full of water over a sterno can. She said, "The last bunch of supplies had boxes of macaroni and cheese, but we don't have enough heat to boil the water that long. You know, it never occurred to me until now how much energy it takes to heat water. I mean, I've had science classes, and I understand that's why they use water to put out fires, but, like, when you're at home, you don't think about it. You run a hot shower or let hot water run in the sink while you brush your teeth, and you don't realize that somewhere down the line it took like several pounds of coal to make enough electricity to heat it. We are so wasteful." TJ said, "God damn it, Hope, why did you have to mention hot showers? You're wagging a psychological torture campaign against me tonight. Don't know what I did to offend you." She dipped her finger in the water. "Okay, we got 2 flavors of ramen and they both taste exactly the same." There was a moment soon after that as we sat around the room eating noodles out of coffee cups, hearing muffled conversation from the hall, when everything seemed normal again. We could have been camping. I felt a strange sense of calm and realized that what I was feeling was the release of responsibility. Nobody expected me to be at work the next day. Nobody was trying to call me. I had no email to check. Ghost enthusiasts weren't stalking me on Facebook. Our responsibilities were stripped down to the bare biological basics: thirst, hunger, cold. All at once I could see why lifelong convicts get to where they couldn't function outside of prison walls. You're almost functioning more at a level for which the human brain was intended. I asked TJ, "What's the deal with the colors? The red and the green. How do we wind up on teams?" Well, that's the thing. Nobody knows. Everybody went through decontamination, and when you slipped out of the chemical shower, you were handed coveralls. Half got red, half got green. They didn't tell us nothing or put us in different sections, just, here, put this shit on. But it don't take Dr. House to figure out that the reds are way more likely to spider out. Carlos was a red, Sal was a red, Danny, Marcus, that fat Muslim dude. It's not 100%, but it's not within margin of error either. Red means high risk, somebody pretty common sense. Everybody figured it out before anybody said it out loud. The colors started separating to themselves, as colors tend to do. Owen has the only gun? Yep, until somebody finds another. Owen was appointed himself the de facto president of the quarantine based on the fact that he happened to find a sidearm that got left behind in the melee. A lot of human history works like that. We had boarded up the broken window, but could still hear the bonfire crackling down in the yard. TJ continued. The lobby and the bit of yard outside the lobby, that old patio area, that's shared territory. The second floor, that's where the hospital still functions as a hospital. The doc and 2 nurses got left behind. They're treating the sick. The regular sick, you know. People keep cutting themselves on broken glass. About a dozen people get them nasty shits that's going around. You ever talked to the doc, by the way, since you've been back? No, tomorrow. I had a thing about doctors, for a very good reason. TJ continued. So, then the 3rd and 4th floors are all red territory. We're here on the 5th and up. Those are the green floors. The 2 sides, we don't shoot each other on sight, but it gets tense, as you saw, and you can tell which side has the gun by who got the lower floors. Why? Hope interjected. No elevators. Nobody wants to tromp up and down a million stairs just to get to their room. Everybody would prefer to just pile down to the bottom. Owen declared his people got the good floors. I said, "Why did I wind up back at the asylum?" TJ shrugged. "Like they'd tell us. Loudspeaker came on and said you need to go to the gate. Truck called you away. That was Friday morning. Now you're back." "How long can we keep this up? Before the food and everything runs out?" TJ said, "They dropped in supplies. Truck dumped out boxes of stuff. I assume they'll do it again." "Yeah, but I'm saying, let's say that hypothetically they can't figure out a cure or even a reliable test for the infection. They keep dumping the suspects here in the quarantine and, what, we're still here 10 years from now? Something has to give, right?" Looking into his cup, TJ said, "What would you do?" "Drop a nuke on it. Write a letter of apology to the surviving family members. Send them some coupons to Outback Steakhouse as compensation. Rest of the country breathed a sigh of relief." He shrugged. "That rumor started about 2 minutes after outbreak. I was hearing about that shit everywhere. Man, people got a low opinion of the armed forces, don't they? Watch too many zombie movies. No way they get away with that in the real world." Hope said, "What if they cover it up? Make it look like something else?" I said, "What, like a fake gas line explosion?" "No. All they have to do is poison our food, then say the infection did it." That brought a silence to the room. TJ said, "Both of you think you're being cynical, but you're not. Reality is, if they wanted us dead, they don't have to do anything. Situation we got here is what cops call a self-cleaning oven. Some gang neighborhoods, they just let it be. Come back in 5 years and it's all quiet, all on its own. You know, because everybody shot each other. It'd be just like that here, because instead of organizing and figuring out how to work together, we all got paranoid, like Owen. He stood up. It's early, but I'm going to bed. No TV and it's too dark to read. What else am I going to do? Hope said, Ugh, the nights are the worst. I'm to where I can tolerate the days as long as nobody dies, but the nights go on forever. TJ said, I agree, and yet the night comes just the same. Like the rotation of the earth don't give a shit what we think. Hope was making a huge freaking understatement when she said the nights were the worst. I realized when TJ left that I was also exhausted, but it was only after I went to bed that it became screamingly apparent that we had no lights and no heat, and were basically living in a third world gulag. I tried to recall what day TJ said it was. Sunday? So the rest of the country was probably watching Sunday night football. Or were they? Maybe it was like this everywhere. Everyone in America huddled in the dark, waiting. TJ and Hope left the room to me at bedtime, so I guessed it was my room. I wrapped myself up in as many blankets as I could find. I knew exactly where to find them, just as I knew where to find the hunk of particle board we used to cover the broken window. My specific memories never came back, but a lot of the automatic stuff was still programmed in. I suddenly remembered that I had broken the window by throwing a little television out of it. I couldn't remember why. I shivered and wrapped up the covers a little tighter. We had a bunch of emergency kerosene space heaters that had been left behind in a storage building, but not much kerosene to fuel them. Here on the 5th floor we had 2 of them in the hall. They'd keep them lit for a few hours at night to take the chill out of the air. But that was it. People set pots of water on top to heat, killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Some people slept in the hall to be closer to the heaters, but the kerosene fumes stank so bad the stench radiated into my brain and gave me a headache. TJ pointed out that the stuff was jet fuel after all. I shivered. Couldn't get warm. Or maybe the shivering was something else. So damned quiet. No TV. No ticking clock. No soft whoosh of heat blowing through vents. Not even the reassuring hum of countless electronic devices that you don't even register until it's gone. Somebody coughed out in the hall. A dog barked off way in the distance. I shivered. I remembered getting into a drunken argument with a guy about American prisons. Him talking about the injustice of the system. Me talking about how it's ridiculous that we spend $40,000 a year per inmate to maintain what are basically super clean hotels for rapists and crack dealers, complete with a computer lab and TV room and pool tables. But now I understand what he was saying. That knowledge that you can't leave. It's a twisting knife in your gut. All I could think about was that razor wire at the top of the fence, meant to slice your hands down to the tendons if you try to climb over. My own government put that there, with my hands in mind. Those hundreds of vicious blades hanging 15 feet over the bloodstains and brains in the grass of the last guy who tried to climb up. But even prisoners knew when their sentence was up. They could tick off days on a calendar, feel themselves progressing toward freedom. But this place, they could keep us here forever, or poison our food like Hope said, or starve us out, or let the drone operator use us for target practice, or fill the yard with nerve gas. I shivered. I couldn't stop. I laid on my side and brought my knees up, trying to control it. Where was Amy right now? Could she have gotten out of town? How the hell could she, the way they were locking the place down at the end there? I thought I'd lay there, shivering, staring at the wall until the sun came up. I could sense no sleep on the horizon, but when I heard the footsteps in my room later, I realized I had drifted off. I didn't move. I pulled open my eyes and stared at the wall. I heard nothing. Decided I dreamed it. My eyes slipped shut. My bed shifted. Wait. Gentle. Settling in. I thought, Hope? She was friendly earlier, but were we friendly? Holy shit, was that possible? I wouldn't think I'd do that to Amy, but here, alone, in this cold place. Would I turn down a warm girl and soft skin and the chance to do the one thing that would let me forget all this? I admitted I didn't hate the idea. I stayed frozen on my side, not sure what to do. I thought about reaching back, looking for a thigh or a hip, casually, just to see who was there. I wondered if I would find her naked. An entire separate part of my nervous system roared to life at the thought. I moved my hand slowly. My heart was pumping. Now watch. You'll roll over and it'll be TJ wearing a tiny leopard skin thong. I reached out and rolled over at the same time. I grabbed a handful of red fur.